myself, I'm not just gonna stand here and wait. All I just decide what is to be my fate. Alone all by myself, I'm not just gonna stay here and wait.
Good morning, everybody. It is 93 degrees Fahrenheit in north central Pennsylvania, and I don't feel like moving. I don't feel like breathing. I don't feel like doing anything. After the last broadcast, I had to change all the cat litter in the heat and put it out on the corner to be taken away. And whoop-de-doo, that's life in the heat. And I've lost the desire to do anything at all right now. It's also the summer solstice, and the summer solstice means people are going to be insane for today and probably tomorrow and the next week or so, as the whole world is off balance. So, yeah, longest day of the year in the northern hemisphere, and it's gonna go on forever. So with that, we're back on the air tomorrow morning at 8:55 a.m. for the Karen Reed murder trial. And it's a special day as Hank and Pope Phil have volunteered, yes, they have volunteered to pick the drunk girls for tomorrow because it's supposedly the last day of the prosecution case. So, yeah, it's a special drunk girl. Special hi to Fonda and Karen over on Facebook. Thank you for the likes over there and for the 14 people watching. Hey, we've got a 10-minute one or a 12-minute one tonight. But we're covering a lot of grand stuff, including my favorite thing in the world. You'll just have to see in a second. Goose eggs, no winners in war. Oh, goose eggs, how I've missed you so. With the world focusing elsewhere as it's the solstice and everyone online is lining up to kill each other, it's glorious to know that, for at least one day, humanity can't be saved, and no one gave these people anything. Defend DMA in the fight against corruption and Oathbreakers stands at $570 today, out of a goal of $20,000 and a 2.85% completion rate. Way to go, Christopher Cordova. Craig Hendries, to support Craig's work, sits at $2,467 out of a $4,000 goal and a 61% completion rate. Press with Ranker stands, well, where it always stands, $2,406 out of a $45,000 goal and a 5% completion rate. DirectD's Help Christopher Ruff, DirectD, clear his name fund, is sticking to the ground at $11,365 out of a $100,000 goal and an 11% completion rate. I'd pivot to journalism too, since these court cases aren't gonna pay for themselves. The fake GoFundMe for Jose Chile de Castro sits at $351, raised out of a $20,000 goal and a 1% completion rate. Every single dime is going to De Castro. Honest, I mean, yeah. Give it to a scammer instead of De Castro if you're gonna give it. Or just pledge it to keep this column going forever and ever. But, no. De Castro's lawyer fund only, all dollars go to lawyer, is closer to completion at an 82% completion rate, raising $20,702 out of a $25,000 goal. His legal fund, donation fund, Help People Fund has a 76% completion rate and has earned $26,735 out of a $35,000 goal. Both are good, but what happened to his legal defense fund, crime scene fund, tape, illegal arrest campaign? It's sitting at roughly 8% completion, with only $2,315 out of a $30,000 goal. Even with hearings in the case moved to August, it's still not achieving like it should be. For Public Safety's Fight Fraud Recovered Fund is doing better at a 43% completion rate and $3,687 out of an $8,500 goal. Even with Fraud at Wrangler's daily harping on this one, there's been no movement at all lately. Which brings us to the only real contender left, Sean Paul Long Island Audit's Riaz. 4 campaigns. Guess what they all have in common? His unlawful arrest and constitutional rights fund is stuck at a 23% completion rate with $3,301 raised out of a $10,000 goal. The Support the Fight Against Tyranny and Corruption fund is at 93% completion and has raised $51,156 out of a $55,000 goal. The most impressive take so far out of all the auditors we've covered. LIA's Fund Legal Defense Against Unlawful Arrest is also close to completion, with an 81% completion rate and $16,311 raised out of a $20,000 goal. His help with criminal defense attorney for this case fund is at an impressive 86% completion rate, with $21,650 raised out of a $25,000 goal. Lastly, his Help LIA with Legal Fees to Fight Tyrants lawsuit fund is now at $1,891 out of a $2,500 goal and sits at a 75% completion rate. What's the common denominator in all these takes, folks? Goose eggs across the board. Goose eggs. Glorious, glorious goose eggs. The countdown is on. 6 more days of goose eggs, and this column retires. We can do it. Put your back into it. No more GoFundMe coverage. We can do it. Let's go! As always, if you'd like to keep us reporting daily news stories each day, we do have a GoFundMe of our own located in the scroll below. All proceeds go to keeping the lights on, eating, and writing news stories to feature here and on ReallyCoolSite.org. DeCastro Great Lakes Audit's warrant dropped. Jose Chile DeCastro got some more good news on Wednesday, as the warrant for his arrest based on charges made against him by YouTuber Great Lakes Audits in Oregon, Ohio, has been withdrawn. The charges stem from a November 2022 incident where Kate Peter and DeCastro were in the side chat of a fundraiser in order to raise bail money for YouTuber Broken System Broken Trust. Peter offered enough money on behalf of the Masshole Troll Mafia to meet the goal for the bail in exchange for a mod timing out DeCastro. Great Lakes Audits complied with the request, triggering DeCastro. DeCastro allegedly confronted Great Lakes Audit via direct message and continued to make threats after Great Lakes Audits asked for no more communication between the two. Great Lakes Audit went to the police and made a police report, resulting in the warrant that was issued but never carried out since 2022. The charges were listed as telecommunications harassment, knowingly make call to harass or abuse, and the bond was set at $2,500. The warrant had been alive but inactive since then, as DeCastro has not returned to Ohio, and Oregon, Ohio police were not going to extradite the YouTuber. In September 2023, Great Lakes Audit made a deal with DeCastro to drop the charges against him in exchange for DeCastro doing a fundraiser for Great Lakes Audit's ongoing legal expenses. The planned fundraiser never materialized, and while Great Lakes Audits claimed that he was going to have the charges against DeCastro lifted, he either never did or he did and the warrant was never lifted. It was officially lifted on June 11, 2024, when it was ordered withdrawn, and the case was dismissed without cost. No reason was given for the dismissal of the case. Special thanks to PDocs of the public documents of Jose Maria Chile DeCastro for providing screenshots and verifying the change. Prosecution set to wrap up in Karen Reed case. The prosecution in the Karen Reed murder case was set to wrap up its case on Friday, with a final handful of scheduled witnesses set to testify and the expected introduction of communications between alleged murderer Karen Reed and victim John O'Keefe. Reporter Grant Smith Ellis shared a link earlier in the week to a document reported to contain text messages from the day of the murder between Reed and O'Keefe, parts of which were read in court on Monday before wrapping for the day. Despite being comically read on the Really Cool News All-Star panel show on Wednesday night, the conversation contains a lot of hints at the relationship at the time of the alleged murder, with both participants seeming less than enthused with each other. Reed had already begun an attempt at a relationship with ATF agent Brian Higgins, who she had kissed at O'Keefe's home during a gathering and had been text messaging. In those messages, she explained that she wanted a relationship without children and seemed to confuse Higgins with her aggressive pursuit of him despite his friendship with O'Keefe. The messages also came after the Aruba incident, where Reed publicly accused O'Keefe of kissing a family friend when she mistook an innocent hug for something else. That incident led to O'Keefe allegedly trying to end the relationship with Reed and asking her to move out of his house. The text started on the morning of the alleged murder, and by afternoon, Reed seems to be instigating a continuation of the fight that happened that morning. She stated that she wanted to go for drinks and inquired about O'Keefe's plans for the evening. O'Keefe seemed ambivalent about going out due to the snowstorm that was moving into the area and his seeming need to take a break from Reed. Reed began to push O'Keefe into a meeting and became distraught when O'Keefe did not answer her multiple phone calls. Reed became increasingly odd and angry throughout the afternoon, baiting O'Keefe with different things in order to get him to respond, including alluding to his adopted children being home alone and bringing up calling a plumber who lived near her in order to fix her hot water heater at her separate residence. O'Keefe objected to the plumber as his father was visiting him, and the two men could simply come over and fix the plumbing issues at no expense to Reed. Reed continued to press to have the plumber come over, and the conversation left off with her having the plumber come over, have the plumber leave to get more parts, and then O'Keefe agreeing to meet with her later that hour for drinks. Despite the defense portraying Reed and O'Keefe's body chemistry on recordings from the bars they went to that evening as a loving, caring couple, the texts leading up to the outing were anything but. O'Keefe was distant to Reed throughout the exchanges, and Reed attempted to manipulate O'Keefe into calling her to get into another apparent confrontation over the fight they had that morning. Reed is accused of drunkenly hitting O'Keefe with her car later that night after dropping him off at Brian Albert's house for an after-party. O'Keefe would later die in a combination of his injuries from the incident and hypothermia after Reed allegedly left him to die in the snowstorm. The defense is expected to get the case early next week. Flashback, June 20th, 2023. DeCastro explains Juneteenth. Proclaiming himself a leader who is leading tens of thousands of people, Jose Chili DeCastro spent his Juneteenth live segment exploring the holiday's true history and how it related to his history of lynching in the United States poster. The poster, which is available for sale in both digital and physical form on his website, was put together over 2 years and features DeCastro's extreme beliefs of black life in America. DeCastro spent 2 hours explaining his poster, peppering his speech with such tidbits as his belief that comedian Steve Martin stole his act from Al Jolson, and that former Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a racist. Turning his attention to his own personal issues, DeCastro described himself as being baptized in the fires of hell, but being a new man with a new lease on life. He reaffirmed his belief in freedom of speech while continuing to strike any YouTube channel that questioned his personal beliefs with copyright strikes. Early Tuesday morning, DeCastro again delayed his announcement of his latest lawsuit. Instead, he substituted a video of his recent confrontation with Officer Jesse Sandoval of the Las Vegas Metro Police Department. DeCastro alleges that Sandoval tortured him while he was in police custody during his March arrest. The YouTuber alleges, without providing medical proof, that Sandoval permanently damaged his ulnar nerve, causing permanent numbness in his left hand. The 11-minute video features DeCastro verbally harassing and insulting Sandoval during a traffic stop at a Las Vegas gas station. A driver was pulled over for missing a rear license plate, and DeCastro became triggered when Sandoval arrived. DeCastro interacted with the female driver involved in the stop, telling her that he didn't have a bazooka in his pants,
and later assuring her that there was nothing in his pants that could be used in violence. After the police left, DeCastro confronted the driver about not having a copy of her insurance card in a laminated card to hand to police, and the fact that she did not record her interaction with police, the driver placating DeCastro until he wandered away from the scene.
Well, that's it, folks. We have another night done in the record books and all that. Yeah, there was apparently no weapon in his pants since he's never armed, I guess. I don't know. It's Chili de Castro. Last year was a wild time, and we'll be exploring that in the next couple of flashback episodes, I'm sure. Remember, we're back on the air tomorrow night at 8:55 a.m., 8:55 a.m. Eastern, 7:55 a.m. where it counts, 6:55 a.m. Mountain Time, and 5:55 a.m. on the West Coast. We'll be having our coverage of the final day of the prosecution's case in the Karen Reed murder trial. Hank and Pope Phil are supposed to be on hand as they both volunteered or were volunteered to provide our drunk girl for the day. That's right, they're in charge of drunk girl. So lunchtime's going to be an interesting time to say the least. Yeah. Tomorrow night we are gonna have the poop shoot right here on this channel, rather than Mark's channel, and it'll be a Torture Gym episode. So for tips, I'll do torture, I guess. I don't know. I have no idea what they have in store for me, other than we're doing stuff for tips. I might even dance on camera again. And I do have the clown suit if anyone wants to actually see that. With that, another reminder, we're back tomorrow night, same time for this episode or this newscast. Saturday night, same thing. Saturday night, we'll have a regular panel on our show tomorrow night. Saturday night. And I'm just getting punch drunk right now. So, yeah. Remember to go back and check out the hidden message about Rose and all the credit scene or all the credits after each one of these articles. With that, we're going to hit our closing credits, and then we've got a very, very, very special post-credit scene. Now that I've scared like 10 of you off already. So, we'll talk to you tomorrow morning, and I'm going to go sit in a bath of ice water or something. I don't know. I'm just tired.